Hello, so we are back again with a new game, and this time the game is called GeoSudo. Now, as the name is suggestive, it's very similar to Sudoku, and students who have been doing Sudoku definitely will find it very simple. For others as well, I'll make things simple for them. Okay? So we'll shoot the video into parts. In part one, I am basically going to tell you what is the GeoSudo problem, what are the strategies to be followed, and I'll introduce a few questions and we'll solve it together. Questions. And in the second part, we'll be discussing more difficult questions. So that's the plan. Okay. So let's get started. I'll tell you what a GeoSudo problem is first. Okay. So what happens in a GeoSudo problem, as you can see, there is a grid of, right now there is a grid of 4 by 4. Otherwise, you can get a grid of 5 by 5 as well. For difficult questions, it can be a 5 by 5 grid. So what happens, you can see if you focus on this row. So you can see there are like symbols coming, each symbol coming once. You can see there is a circle, there is a triangle, and there is a square, and there is a plus notation. So these are the four symbols which will be, the grid is going to be filled with all these four symbols only. Now, what is the rule? Each row, you can see this row is having the symbol only used once. They cannot come twice. So let's say if a circle is coming over here in this row, then in this particular row, circle cannot come again. Same applies to columns as well. Okay. So for each row and each column, all the symbols are going to be used only once. So that's the basic rule. So seems to be simple, and for making things simple over here, we'll just start with it. You need to figure out in place of question mark, what is going to be the symbol coming? What is going to be the symbol used? Okay. So if you happen to look at this particular question I have taken, it's a very simple one so that everyone understands it. Okay. So otherwise, I'll tell you how to go about watching the videos. Once again, let me remind you, pause the question, try to solve the question in your own way, try to solve it in 30 seconds and then look for the solution. Okay, so what is coming over here? You can see this row is perfect. This row is perfect. A circle, triangle, square, and it is filled is coming. If I need to fill this question mark, you can see I would be looking to fill this column basically. So what is in this column? There is a square, there is a plus sign, there is a triangle. What is not there? Obviously, there is a circle. So I'll mark my answer as circle. So I believe things are fine with all of you now. Let me repeat the rule. Each row, each column will have all the elements used only once. So you need to basically figure out what is going to be in place of a question mark. This was very simple, I understand, but things are going to get complicated. Okay, but I'll make it go complicated gradually. So be with me and let's try to solve the next question. Okay, let's have a look at this question. So this question is again a very simple one. Uh, yes, I need to make a small change over here. It is not printed. There was a triangle over here, and the question mark is over here for this particular question. So I have taken a very simple one so that you start get understanding of geo pseudo problems, and later on you start doing them. Okay, so let's see what is going to be over here. Now, as a strategy, I will always suggest that try to fill the rows and column which is most easy to fill. Most easy to fill as in like which has more number of elements which have already been filled. So that's going to be the most easiest row to fill. Okay. But over here, so I would particularly fill this row. But over here, since the question is demanding very simple things, so I would not go to that strategy, which is my basic strategy. That's what I'm going to continue with all the other questions. But for the understanding, because you're just starting things, so this particular question is trying to tell you again the simple things that okay, all elements and all elements are coming only once in each row in each column. So basically, if you need to fill this, let's try to figure out. So this element over here is part of this row, you would say, and it is also part of this column, as in it is common element over here now. Okay, so since it is part of this column, and if I happen to look at this column, there is a circle over here already, and there is a triangle already over here. So if I'm concerned with filling this column, what can be the possibilities? There can be a square and there can be a plus sign. Okay, if I happen to look, I'm repeating, if I happen to be focused transfixed on this column, I'm talking about this column, what are the possibilities? What elements can be over there? There can be a square and there can be a plus sign. Okay, but when you happen to figure out, and it is quite evident that this is part of this row as well, and what is in this row? There is a plus sign and all elements can only come once. So since it is coming plus sign over here, it cannot come again in the column. So definitely it cannot be the possibility that plus sign can be over here. So what is over here? Square is going to be over here. So my answer would be, if I need to fill this, there is going to be a square over here. Is it okay? And I'll mark my answer as B then. So I believe things are getting more clearer now. Let's go to the next question where I'll start dealing with the basic strategy. Okay. Okay, so I've been telling you I will start with dealing with the basic strategy. So let me start. Okay, I need to find out what is there in this place, the question mark. Okay. Okay, so let's try to start. Uh, what is my basic strategy? My basic strategy is I will try to fill the rows and column which can be most easily filled, which have more number of elements already there. So, okay, this is perfectly filled. No issues. I need to figure out to fill this. That's what it is. Okay, so let's get started. There is, you can see a circle over here, and there is okay. For the start, if I try to figure out that this is my row I am interested, it already has a plus sign and a square over here. So what can be over here? You would say if I just focus on this row, you would agree that I'll say there can be a circle or there can be a triangle. But tell me, because since it is part of this column as well, there is a circle over here. So circle cannot come now for this. So I replace it. I'll put a triangle. So my answer right now is triangle. Are you with me on this? Okay. So my answer is going to be triangle. So with this simple example, things are getting very clearer. Students will think, okay, that's a very simple question to do. Yes, certainly it is simple. But you have to do it in 30 seconds. But mind you, this is level 1. You know, in your Cape Gemini exam, it is going to be like the level of difficulty is going to be increasing all the time. So it is not going to be stagnant in this level. The questions are going to get complicated. And that's what we're going to see in the last question of this video. And please watch the subsequent video as well so that you get the clarity what the difficulty level can be. Okay. Okay, let's have a look at this one. Okay, so let me get back to it. Okay, I need to figure out, this seems to be colorful. Okay, you'll get a colorful thing over there on the software. Okay, so then you need to figure out this question mark. So how will I start? I'll try to figure out the row or column where the most easily we'll fill. So this is the column which I believe has 3 elements already been filled. That's going to be most simple. So there is a, you can say, a square, a circle and a plus sign already. Triangle and possibility. Now since it is a triangle over here, so what only symbol can be over here? There can be a triangle. And since it is a triangle, so there can be a star. I'm just putting the star in a simple fashion like this with a cross. Okay. So I have filled my this column. Now after I fill this column, I just don't jump over here, because there is going to be like a possibilities are still going to be there that you eventually need a one answer. You cannot say, okay, there is a possible like three answers are possible. So it is not the case. So after I'm done with this, I'll stick to filling even more rows and columns. So I believe this is my easier row to fill. Now if this is easier, this is a triangle, this is a star, there's already this square. So the possibility for this is going to be either a circle, or you can say a plus sign, circle or plus sign. But since a circle is over here, so it is only going to be a plus sign over here, which leaves me with a circle over here. Okay, so this, by you can say my column is also, sorry, my row is also filled. What it happens, what is the good thing I'm getting is, now for this one, which is by eventually what I need to fill, because there is a plus sign over here and there is a circle over here. So I got this plus sign, so this will remove the possibility that this can be a plus sign over here. So there is a plus sign, there is a circle, there is a triangle. So what all possibilities can be over here? You would say at this point of time, since it cannot be a plus sign because it's part of this column I'm looking at now. So there cannot be a plus sign, there cannot be a circle, and there cannot be a star as well. So I'm left with either it is going to be a square or it is going to be a plus. Plus is already taken care of. It is going to be a triangle. Either it is a square or it is going to be a triangle at this point of time. Either this or this. So still I'm left with like two choices to make, and it is still something more I need to do. So is there any other possibility of row and column I can fill? Yes, I will try this one. This is the column I am interested once again. So this is like having a plus sign, a circle and a triangle. I'm left with what? A square, and you can say I'm left with a square and a star, square and a star. Since star is over here, so a square is going to be over here and a star is going to be over here. Now going back and trying to answer my question, since square is over here, I was getting two possibilities over here, either a square or a triangle, and since a square is over here, I'll remove this square and the only possibility of my answer is a triangle. So my answer is going to be the B option. Okay, so I believe this was quite interesting, and now you would have got an idea like how the complexity level of questions are also increasing. Are we getting this? So that's how things are going to be. And in part two, so part one, what I did, I introduced you, make things simple for you. You were finding it very simple, but then I showed you that the complexity of questions are going to be increasing, and this is what I'm going to continue in part two as well. So be with me with part two. Okay, thanks for watching the video. Please watch the part two as well for GeoSudo. Okay, great.